Hi guys, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. The Premier League is back after a very long international break. I'm here with Chris Pajak from the Redmen TV. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm all right, mate. It was a very long international break, as you said, or at least it felt that way, isn't it? It's horrible when there's no proper footy on, like.
Definitely. Well, the first game on this weekend, 12:30 on Saturday, we'll be there to see Newcastle go to Anfield and park the bus. I think that's pretty much going to be what most teams are going to do at Anfield this year. But Chris, we're going to start off with something slightly off topic. Michael Owen just released his new book, Reboot. A lot of criticism, it has to be said, from Newcastle fans, and I think probably a number of Liverpool fans as well. A Liverpool ambassador who played for Manchester United, wanted to go to Liverpool so many times since joining Newcastle. What have you made of his comments about just everything in general about his career?
Listen, I try not to listen to Michael Owen, if I'm perfectly honest with you, mate. He's not on my radar anymore. I think he probably gets a little bit too much stick from Liverpool fans because what he did at the football club was absolutely unbelievable when he was here. It's what he did after the football club that tarnished his reputation for us, you know. The fact that he moved to Manchester United, the fact that he probably should have held out, and he probably could have come back to Liverpool after Real Madrid instead of going to Newcastle. I also think it's a load of old crap that he's actually even done a second book. If you wanted to tell the truth, why didn't you tell the truth in your first book? You know what I mean? Why are you waiting till your second book? But all that being said, he was a great player for us, like a truly fantastic player to watch. One of those lads that you get your bum off your seat type of thing. You know, some of the stuff that he did for us, but it's what he did afterwards, and you know, it doesn't help that he's a boring git either, does it? Let's be honest. Like, so you'd rather watch paint. In fact, I was gonna say I'd rather watch paint. I'd rather watch international football than listen to Michael Owen talk about football.
I think that's the video there, and then I think that's the tagline. But no, let's talk about the proper reason I got you on, Chris. Obviously, it's the big game on Saturday. Liverpool started the season just like they ended last season. You know, 4 wins from the first 4 Premier League games and a Super Cup as well. It's not too bad. It's not a bad start, is it?
It's not bad being a Liverpool fan at the moment, mate. I mean, we've had a lot of years in the doldrums, and you know, I say doldrums, you know, it could be much worse. We're still, you know, near the top of the Premier League, top half of the Premier League, but just not quite making it in Europe and stuff. But the change since Jürgen come in has been unbelievable, and you know, the feel-good factor around the football club is absolutely incredible at the moment. And it's interesting just doing these like opposition previews with different fans of different clubs and stuff like that. And it's like, the way that people are speaking to me now, because I'm a Liverpool fan, has just changed. You know, it used to be that, you know, for example, we'd do a video with Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV and he'd be fucking like, we're going to bat you. And now it's like, oh, yeah, I hope we get a draw out of it and all that type of stuff. And it's just mad because we are a boss side. And I think, you know, we're a very difficult side to play against. We're very different to Manchester City, and Manchester City are a great side. And I say this all the time, but they impose their will on you, and you are forced into watching them play their style of football, whereas Liverpool can do a little bit of everything. You know, we went to Burnley the other week before the international break. We won there by playing long balls. We played more long balls than Burnley. We nearly played 70 long balls in the game. If you want to rough us up, we can rough up with you. If you want to play possession football, we'll play possession football. You want us to counter-attack you, we'll counter-attack you. You want us to have the ball, we'll have the ball. And that's why it's so difficult to play Liverpool now, because there isn't a style of football that Liverpool can't play themselves, and there isn't a style of play that Liverpool can't combat.
Do Liverpool have any weaknesses in their main starting 11? Because I'm looking through top 3, don't even bother touching about how if they're weak or not. Obviously, depending if Adrian or Alisson starts in goal, obviously you could say Adrian's a bit of a weak link. But when you look at just that general first 11, you're clutching at straws to see who really is a weak link. That opposition teams can go, right, let's just try and get it towards him. Just to make it a little bit more difficult for Liverpool.
Teams do tend to still try and target Trent Alexander-Arnold a little bit, but they don't get much joy out of it. One of the things that, I think you're right, I agree with everything you've said there. When you look at Liverpool's 1 to 11 now, it's very, very difficult to pinpoint a weakness. Adrian will start. Alisson's nowhere near fit. He's just gone back into training. He's doing some weight training and stuff. He's gone outside a couple of times, but he's not really doing anything like diving or anything like that. So it's now impossible that he'll start the game. Adrian's had a decent start. He's a very, very good shot stopper, but he's not very good with the ball at his feet. And we saw that against Southampton. He gifted Danny Ings a goal, didn't he? So there is an error in him, but all told, I just think that the defence is so good that we're all right with a shot stopper in for a few games. We can make do with Adrian being the goalkeeper, and he stood up well, and he was the hero of the Super Cup final as well. So yeah, I think there aren't many weaknesses. There are a lot of strengths nowadays, and if there is a weakness, it's not with the team, it's maybe with the squad, and it's not even a weakness, it's just that maybe Manchester City have got a few more better players in their squad than we have in ours. But our 1 to 15's boss, people sometimes look at the midfield and say, look, we need more creativity in there, and maybe we do. But for me, I like the fact that, you got Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum, Keita fighting, Oxlade-Chamberlain coming back from fitness, from injury. And I think they're a very industrious midfield, and they facilitate the use of our fullbacks to get high up the pitch. So for me, it's not really a weakness, it's a strength, because it allows us to play to our strengths and use Trent Alexander-Arnold with the ball at his feet, whipping balls in, and use Andy Robertson on that left-hand side, whipping balls in. We saw how many assists he got last season. They don't get those assists if we've got a Phil Coutinho in the middle of the park, because Phil Coutinho dictates that you play through him. So for me, that midfield isn't really a weakness, but some Liverpool fans would disagree with me on that and say that it might be.
It's always been a big week for Liverpool, like you've mentioned. There's the Champions League back next week, and you've got a very difficult trip to Napoli, and then arguably another difficult trip to Chelsea, which Chelsea way is always difficult for most teams. Can you see Klopp making any subtle changes? Maybe Origi coming in for one of the main three, just looking at maybe the Champions League game and the Chelsea game, or do you think he'll just go all guns blazing?
I don't think Firmino will start, if I'm honest. We've been quite lucky in that Mo Salah and Sadio Mane didn't go away on international duty. Lucky for us, probably maybe a little bit unlucky for you guys. Firmino did. Now, he played early hours of Wednesday morning UK time. With it being a Saturday kickoff, he's playing the other side of the world, over in the Americas somewhere. I think it might have actually been America. Him and Fabinho both started, both featured, in that game. So I'd be surprised if Firmino does start, and I'd maybe be a little bit surprised if Fabinho does as well. We've got the option of dropping Henderson back in the 6, or maybe playing Gini Wijnaldum, James Milner in that 6 instead, and probably somebody like a Divock Origi over on the left-hand side maybe, and Mane up front, or Salah up front and Shaqiri, something like that. Or maybe Divock himself up front in the number 9, because I don't think you need to rush Firmino back per se, with Napoli and Chelsea on the horizon as well. And that's no disrespect to Newcastle, but there are bigger games that week for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I completely understand. Let's talk about Newcastle. It's all changed since Liverpool last played Newcastle. Rafa Benitez was our manager, and we had players like Solomon Rondon and Iosi Perez scoring goals, but that's not the case anymore. Chris, just obviously I know Rafa Benitez is absolutely adored with both Liverpool and Newcastle. It was a massive kick in the teeth for Newcastle to lose that calibre of manager. From an outsider looking in, can you understand why the board and Mike Ashley didn't want Rafa Benitez to stay on?
No, not really. I mean, if it comes down to money, and I think, is that what they've said, mate?
I think it was Rafa wanted more control of the transfers, and I know he had this with Liverpool, that he didn't really get enough money to spend. It was under Hicks and Gillette for most of the time, wasn't it? And I think it was the way the money was getting spent. I don't think Rafa Benitez wanted to spend 40 million on Joelinton. I think he'd rather spend 16 million on Solomon Rondon, but the club want to have a sell-on value. And if Joelinton scores, say, 20 goals, he might, catch the eye of Liverpool. They'll go, ooh, maybe if Salah, Mane, Firmino are getting a little bit older, here's someone's a little bit younger. But I'm not comparing Joelinton to any of those three by any stretch, but that's how the club would see it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of teams that are placing a massive emphasis now on sell-on value and stuff, isn't it? And, I can't imagine that that's something that Rafa thinks about. Unfortunately, with where Newcastle were under his stewardship, you probably do have owners that need to start thinking about where you're getting the money in and how you're going to get up the league. But Benitez will only be focusing on getting higher up the league. That's his job, and that's why he'll probably want the players that he wanted, because he believes that they'll get you further up the league. And can you build on that the next season? Can you build on that? Rafa's always had the one big flaw in Rafa Benitez for me is that he picks a club with shit owners all the time. When he was at Liverpool, he had Hicks and Gillette. When he was at Inter Milan, they're terrible owners, you know what I mean? And Real Madrid he went to, they just fire managers for fun there. Chelsea, he spent a few months there. and your guy at Newcastle might be the worst of the lot, if I'm perfectly honest. He doesn't seem to want to improve the club in any shape, way or form, doesn't want to get Newcastle back to where they were and where they probably belong because of the fan base that they've got and the history that they've got. So yeah, I think, you know, it did surprise me that Rafa went to China for a lot of money. That really did surprise me. I didn't think he'd want to do that. But maybe he was just so bored of it. Maybe he was given the control and the influence over the football club that he chose that he thought, you know what, maybe I'll do this. And plus, it's a bloody long commute from the Wirral for Rafa to China, isn't it? So I'm surprised at him doing that because his family obviously still live in the Wirral.
Yeah. Well, you can't exactly get a quick train from there, the Wirral to Dalian, yeah, Fang or whatever. But I don't know if you've watched much of Newcastle, Chris, but we managed to get a good... The last 2 games we've picked up points, obviously, going away to Tottenham. Unbelievable ground, I have to say. Like, it hasn't got the history of an Anfield or an Old Trafford, but unbelievable ground. Newcastle put in an unbelievable performance as well to match it. And Watford last time out got a point. It just keeps that slight momentum. Is there any players that maybe have caught your eye that you might think, oh, he's not too bad?
No, I don't watch anything else other than Liverpool nowadays, mate. So I'd only be talking about match of the day style players, and I don't think match of the day is really a true reflection of who's playing well and who's not. So I'd be lying if I told you any different, mate. I spend 180 minutes a season watching other teams in the Premier League, and it's when Liverpool play them.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, let's get predictions. I'll just before the actual match prediction. Are Liverpool winning the Premier League this year, or Manchester City just going to edge again?
Everybody's going to ask me that this year. I said from the word go that I thought Manchester City would edge it. I think we'll push them close again. I think Liverpool can win the league this season, but I think if Liverpool are to win the league, everything needs to go right, and very rarely everything goes right in a season. You know, we've already picked up an injury for Alisson. If we pick one up for one of our front three, or Virgil van Dijk, or Trent Alexander-Arnold, we'd struggle to get the points haul that we got last season. I just think Manchester City's squad's slightly better. I think Liverpool's team is just as good, if not slightly better, than Manchester City's, if I'm honest. But I do think their squad probably just about wins out.
I'll give you an easier prediction. What's it going to be on Saturday?
2-0 Liverpool.
I think you've been very kind there, Chris. Well, that's Chris's prediction. Liverpool 2, Newcastle 0 on Saturday. Get your comments in below. Do you agree with Chris that Liverpool are going to just win 2-0? Can you say maybe 3 or 4? And who do you think are Liverpool's biggest danger man? Is it Mo Salah? Is it Virgil van Dijk? Or is it Sadio Mane? Get your comments in. Like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. And we'll see you at the game on Saturday.